You want healthy, glowing skin, but with all the products, trends, and conflicting advice, it's hard to know what actually works. I understand. I am Dr. Tina Meder, a former cardiologist and specialist in the skincare development and cosmetic safety expert. I've spent years studying the science of skin. Welcome to Meder Beauty podcast, where we uncover what really matters, break down the science, and give you real expert-backed skincare advice. Whether you're looking to achieve radiant, healthy skin, curious about anti-aging, or want to understand what's really in your product, you are in the right place. Rooted in science and the truth about what your skin actually needs, we'll have in-depth conversations with leading dermatologists, medical experts, and skincare brand founders to bring you the latest innovations, evidence-based insights, and industry secrets that truly make a difference. We are so happy you are here. So let's go. Hello, Sarah.
Hello, Dr. Tina.
Today it's already a couple of weeks in the summer, so there will be a lot of people worried about the pigmentation. So let's discuss the pigmentation from the point of view of professional skincare.
Sure. Where do we start?
I'm really curious about your own experience because you are medical licensed esthetician, practicing all your life in Miami, right?
Yeah.
In Florida, it is geographically, it is a place when you should see a lot of real hard cases of pigmentation. So tell me more about your experience.
So I did start my professional career in Miami. However, I did start at least selling skincare in South Texas. So similar climate and of course, similar concerns. So I think the number one ways we see it first is acne scarring or maybe even freckles. I learned a lot more about melasma as I started to move here to South Florida because that seems to be more common and I see it at least more often here. But really, acne scarring, and for myself personally, having PIH and experiencing a mark no matter what I did, whether I touched my skin, because that would be a lot of the feedback from clients. It's like, I'm not doing anything to my skin, and why am I still seeing this? But they weren't protecting their skin. I wasn't protecting my skin. So understanding how inflammation forms and shows up in our skin, I think it was a big learning lesson for me. So the brown, the black marks on my face personally got me very curious, and I started using AHAs almost immediately. And I started using them way too often. And I had to recover from a compromised barrier by the time I became a professional for that reason. We became obsessed with using peels on a weekly or almost daily basis. So I think that was my first experience when I became a professional was how do I achieve those results, but how do I also train my clients not to over-exfoliate their skin when they're noticing this happening?
So it's very interesting. So you experienced all the things which are passion, these things and they shouldn't be doing. I feel really guilty about it because I admit it so many times because they're coming for the consultation and saying quite, I know I'm so guilty, it was stupid, but it wasn't stupid.
Truly.
Even professionals can make the same mistakes.
And I think a lot of people forget that sometimes professionals come into this field because of their own experiences. So like in my family, a lot of the women were telling me, why am I seeing this discoloration in my skin, Sarah? What's happening? What can I do about it? But on the flip side of that, not all acids or not all treatments were great for everyone. So a lot of my family had bought the most popular products on the market at the time, which were like glycolic acid, retinol, of course,
right?
Still always something so aggressive that it caused them to then react. It got worse once I started to take care of it. So now I do nothing, Sarah. And it's like, no, that wasn't the issue. The issue was you attacked versus figuring out even what the root cause of it was. Do we need to calm the inflammation in your body and your skin? Are you going out and not using any sun protection? Even as far as going to like having an inflammatory diet and not recognizing how much that's showing up in your own skin. I would imagine you see plenty of patients in your own practices in the past that if they would change their lifestyle, not so much just about product, they would notice a reduction in this. Like my family were athletes, so they're going into saunas. They're constantly, not just trauma from skincare, but they are constantly experiencing almost some form of regenerativeness in their body. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
So they've been exposed to so many external factors.
Yes.
Increasing the risk of the hyperpigmentation in the skin. So this became literally unavoidable.
Yes. And so we talked about, okay, so how are your habits impacting this? And now how can we at least improve that, whether it's I go out and I run between 1 and 4 p.m., Sarah? I'm like, okay, here's a good start. Let's not do that. Do you even know anything about the UV index? A lot of clients didn't. And did they know all of the different options? Because I do realize that we didn't have a wide variety of information the way we do now on what we can use to treat hyperpigmentation and prevent pigmentation irregularities from coming up in the skin. But lifestyle for me was a big one, especially out here in Miami.
Well, I love it. And actually, let's start from the lifestyle.
Yeah.
Because for a lot of patients, when they come to us, they don't really think that their hyperpigmentation can be related to their lifestyle. All they think that it's somehow related to their use or not use of sunscreen, or the choice, right or wrong, of sunscreens. But actually, it's much deeper.
Yeah.
And what is really interesting, he mentions that in South Texas, Florida is similar, but it is different. So you have different cases of pigmentation all around here. And the temperature is different, but humidity, can be the same 100-degree Fahrenheit, 35 and Celsius, but humidity in
I was
Florida,
going to say, yes.
can be 80. And in Texas, how much it can be? 0.
It can vary because, of course, like I lived in Austin, Texas, where it's still a high humidity, but then you have places like maybe Houston or Dallas. It can range, but that dry heat, that windiness, what I noticed is a lot more dryness even in the summer months with people who are experiencing pigmentation irregularity. So it's not just hyperpigmentation. Now it's also the cracked skin, almost leathery-like skin. I don't see that leathery-like skin down here as much. But of course, what we know is as you're worried about how can I improve my pigmentation? You can't just improve your pigmentation. You have to improve your texture. You have to improve the overall clarity of the skin. So it becomes...
It's very interesting observation.
Yeah.
Because you see when humidity is really low, you are in a higher risk of sun elastosis and irreversible damage of the skin. High humidity help to hold water molecules in the stratum corneum and in the superficial layers of the skin. So your skin is naturally better protected.
Okay.
It's still not enough. So you still can experience melasma.
Yes.
But as you mentioned, in Texas, you are in higher risk of inflammation.
Yeah.
You are in higher risk of skin dryness.
Yes.
And even dermatosis.
Yes.
So apparently, the sun protection should be very different in these two cases.
Yes, and it brings up what you just mentioned. When I'm talking to clients about pigmentation, a lot of the times, especially my dry clients, they get so hyper-focused on, I don't like how uneven my skin tone is. I'm like, I can't help you improve that until we've improved the hydration in your skin. So that just makes so much sense as to, if this is something you're noticing, don't hyper-fixate. I think that's what we do as patients and even as practitioners. We hyper-fixate on what's bothering me the most without realizing what else is contributing to that ultimately being like your main attention.
Yeah, it is really great observation. So first and foremost, sun protection is situational. So we should think about...
That's a big statement. Yeah.
We should think about air humidity.
Yes.
We should think about air pollution.
Yes.
Which is literally doubling the risk of the hyperpigmentation, because ultraviolet become more damaging in combination with an air pollution. And obviously the intensity of the ultraviolet. How many of the clients, by your experience, heard about the ultraviolet index?
Oh, no. Especially when I was doing facial treatments, of course, the number one, and this was before I was doing just exclusively meta treatments that are loaded with so much antioxidants and so much preparation for the skin that I could have a client leave at 4 o'clock in the afternoon after a meta treatment and tell them like, yeah, go home. I didn't put sunscreen on you. But when I was in a spa doing lasers or doing peels that I could put an SPF on, I was actually encouraged to put an SPF off when they left. I had to make sure to check the UV index to say, okay, do I need to put it on you or not? And they're like, how do I do that? What is that?
I actually think it would be a great idea to put the UV index somewhere to be seen on the reception area. In spa and so on, like they do in the hotel.
I love that.
The temperature, the wind, the humidity. We should add the ultraviolet index.
I agree.
So you go on the reception and ultraviolet index from 6 till 10. Protect your skin.
As you talk about this, it also reminds me of my clients who say, I don't wear sunscreen because I'm inside all day. And like we're saying, it's not about the sunscreen, but the exposure to ultraviolet rays. They're not aware that these rays are coming through your window, especially in the car. I heard an article once speak about how much heat is trapped in the skin, especially when you wait to start your car in the hot summer day and you wait for it to cool down while you're sitting in the car. All that heat just being trapped and absorbed into your skin. We don't think about these small things that ultimately end up triggering our melanocytes.
It's really, I'm so happy you speak about it because I'm always forgetting to mention it in my workshops and presentations.
Yes.
The heat is the factor.
Yes.
Because heat, it is infrared rays, right?
Yes.
And infrared radiation by itself cannot increase the risk of the pigmentation
in
the healthy skin.
Right.
But combined with the ultraviolet, if your skin is heated, you have higher risk of developing hyperpigmentation, post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, and melasma. Skin is cool. You are some kind in a cool environment. The risk is lower.
Okay.
So it is a good idea before sitting in the car. Just put AC.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so a couple of minutes, 3 minutes, don't sit immediately in the car. Let it cool.
See, those are like those just small pieces. I feel a person with pigmentation insecurity feels like that is a big challenge for them to overcome. And there's so many things they may have to do to overcome it to the point where they just give up. But even just as simple as cool down your car before you sit in it and you're making one positive. Yes, I love that. I agree.
And also lifestyle.
Yes.
So that's the question. Athletes or not athletes? To be or not to be? I think it will be too pretentious to call myself an athlete because my athlete years are behind me. So I do working out every day, but just for pleasure.
Well, I think everyone in my life is rolling their eyes at you right now by calling me an athlete. But we enjoy being physical. We enjoy doing it outside. That's something you and I definitely enjoy. But it's a matter of when you do that and how you do that. You're being strategic about that, right? I just came back from Texas. Hiking in Austin is gorgeous. There's so many hilly spaces. So gorgeous. But even as simple as like finding the shade. I like to pay attention to where the shade is, where the sun is at the time. There are spots, of course, like maybe at 10 a.m. before it's gotten so bright that I can have a good, enjoyable walk and not feel like I've absorbed so much heat and my skin doesn't feel like it's boiling. But obviously, if I were to do that, say mid-afternoon, I'm not going to have that experience.
What is the paradox of the physical activity, especially outdoors physical activity? On bright side, it's really good for your body.
Right.
Because you have a natural sunlight, you're moving outdoors, you have this experience of the contact with nature. It's so good for your mental health.
Absolutely.
And also everything what is good for your mental health. It's good for your body, it's good for your skin. You produce oxytocin. Love hormone. Which protects your skin from the inflammation. And also every 20 minutes of physical activity helps you to produce more hyaluronic acid, produce more of collagen, your microbiome thriving. So everything is good except for its bad. Because outdoors activity means that you are exposed to the
ultraviolet, free radicals,
heat and cold and all these external factors. You should find a balance. For me, it is always, I am the morning person. So for me, it's probably easier. Than for people.
You're like a sunrise person,
I love to wake up early, so I'm going outdoors. And in the building here in Florida, where we are living, I discovered some people call me yoga woman.
Look at you.
Look at me. Also, they call me Jamie because apparently with my great hair, I am associated with Jamie Lee Curtis, kind of cool.
Jamie Lee, we found your doppelganger.
Actually, only gray hairs.
Truly. Listen.
She's so beautiful.
Listen.
And I am just going in the morning. I'm going outdoors. I'm doing yoga or something else. Sometimes swimming.
What does that prep look like for you? If someone were to say, I'm Dr. Tina Metter, what do I put on my skin before I go outside?
Prepare yourself. Brace. I put nothing.
And you feel comfortable doing it because?
If your skin is healthy, the whole idea of the quality skincare.
Yes.
It do not put your skin in the addiction.
Yes.
Your skin should not be addicted to the skincare.
Uh-huh.
So if you wake up and feel comfortable,
Yes.
if you don't feel any discomfort on your skin, so very probably your skincare routine is good.
Yes.
And I always, when I recommend some new skincare routine for my patients,
Yeah.
I always ask them in 3-4 months time,
Yeah.
just to try this free weekend without skincare, especially if they are not exposed to the sun.
Right.
Just to listen themselves. How do they feel? If you feel uncomfortable, we should add something because your skin is not really independent. It's not full. So for me, I feel good in the morning, and also I'm going, most of the time, I'm going out at 6.
Yeah.
Max 6:30 a.m.
Exactly.
So I'm coming back at 8 at latest.
Exactly.
And the ultraviolet index, which I am always checking out,
Yes.
0. Even in Florida, in the summertime, 7 a.m., it's
Yes.
still 0. It's very bright. Violet is not penetrating the atmosphere.
Exactly.
So you're out of danger.
I knew that that would be the case. So I think it humanizes you to say, yes, I'm a dermatologist. Yes, I know we're constantly telling you all to make sure you're doing these things before you go out into the sun, but also being practical. No, I don't put it on at 6 a.m. when I'm going outside, and this is why.
Yeah, when I go out like at 9 a.m. or 10 a.m., obviously I put a sunscreen.
Yeah,
At
yes.
7 a.m., the index of ultraviolet is speaking at 0.
Sure.
So when it doesn't penetrate the atmosphere,
We love
doesn't
this.
penetrate into your skin.
Yes.
But if you're doing some physical activity later, you should apply the sunscreen. And for people who are physically active, it's so difficult to find sunscreen, right?
Yeah.
Because when you move, you sweat. When you sweat,
Burns your eyes.
No,
It's you sweat it off, but it burns your eyes. This is what I hear over and over again, Sarah.
that's why actually so many athletes, they don't use sunscreens at all. And they're ashamed about it.
Yeah.
But on the things that to find the right sunscreen.
Yes.
Now that's a whole range of sunscreens.
There are.
We are called sport waterproof sunscreen.
Absolutely.
So both of them.
Go for them. As I'm listening to you talk, so on the flip, so you know your skin feels healthy, but you mentioned listen to your skin. Listening to the skin, I know for me, I've been traveling to the Caribbean more than I ever have. I've never really been to the Caribbean before.
Oh, likely.
That's like in the last year and a half. I wish I was there like yesterday. But when I say that, I say I have noticed what it feels like in my skin to say, uh-oh, I need to reapply my sunscreen, or I've been out here much too long. And I wonder what you would say we would typically feel in our skin. For me, I immediately feel it burning. And I don't know if people get to a point where their skin has been so burned that they can't see it or think what it feels like. Obviously, you can get red. But for instance, in my family, people don't show up red all of the time, but they feel the burn or the discomfort or even sometimes swelling from the sun. What would a person who has unhealthy skin see and experience in their skin when they're in the sun?
It feels very different in different skin types. Speaking about the people with fair skin types, like people with Celtic phototype.
Sure.
First and second, so very fair eye color, hair color, hair skin. They can develop even some kind of allergic reaction. It's called allergoid.
Okay.
So it's similar to allergy, but it's still based on the histamine. So it's
Yes.
urticaria.
Yes.
It's very itchy.
Yes.
And you see a lot of bumps on your skin.
Okay.
That can be itchy, nasty red, big, and even deformational for the skin. So you're looking like you've been eating peanuts and you're allergic to peanuts. It's not a real allergy.
And that can lead to, I would imagine, some sort of discoloration that can be left behind, especially after a prolonged exposure. Yes?
Hyperpigmentation, chronic erythema, redness, skin sensitivity, and melasma as well. And all types of sun damage.
Yes.
People with Mediterranean skin types.
Yes.
So third and fourth types by Fitzpatrick. They're naturally a little bit better protected.
Yeah.
So they are not so prone to the inflammation immediately.
Right.
After sun damage to the skin.
Sure.
But at the moment they can feel like skin become very tense, itchy, and drying. So it's like your skin is really ask you to drink something. And a lot of these people, they love to to spray the water around their skin.
Sure.
Just to get this, to feel better.
Like a cooling and refreshing.
It's not a good decision.
Ah.
Because what happens when you spray water all around your face
Yes.
and around your open skin, it creates hundreds and thousands of microscopic mirrors.
Duh.
Immediately.
Yes.
And in each of these years, in each of these lens,
Oh my gosh.
ultraviolet penetrates deeper.
Yes.
So you facilitate
Wow.
ultraviolet damage immediately. And also your skin starts to evaporate this water.
Yes.
And it's evaporating with the water which was holding so painfully.
Oh
in the surface
my
of the
gosh.
skin. So your skin become even drier. Your barrier will be even more damaged. So please don't do it.
As I hear you speaking, I'm sorry. All I see and hear is the habit of I walk into the pool and walk immediately out to start and lay out, because that's what you do. You get a little wet, you go lay out, and you're fabulous. Like, you feel so warm so quickly, but that makes so much sense.
Actually, thank you for mentioning it. And being a swimmer, still, I love to swim, so I do it
Yes.
almost every day. First thing to do when you're going out of the water, when
Yes.
the sun is in the sky,
Yes.
to dry your skin.
Immediately.
You use a towel to dry your skin. You go to the shadow until the moment when your skin is dry, because it helps you prevent the evaporation of the water from your skin.
Wow.
And help to prevent this additional sun damage.
Huge tip.
And that's why you need to use waterproof
Yes.
sunscreens. And also when you do hiking and
Yeah.
you feel uncomfortable, you want to give your skin the water. It is possible, but find the shadow. Do it in the shadow.
Very interesting.
Just wait until the water will be absorbed by your
Yes.
skin. The best way to do it
This is a great tip.
just to get with your makeup remover towels. So you go to the shadow, you clean up your face, you spray thermal water all around your face. You let it absorb.
Sure.
And you reapply sunscreen.
Reapply your
And
sunscreen.
you will be better protected. You will feel fresh. You will feel much better.
You are giving the routine and the tip of how you would recommend our clients prevent their unwanted pigmentation this summer. These step by steps.
It's a little bit a small detail. It's a smart way. And with people, for people with darker skin types,
Yes.
5th and 6th,
Yes. Yeah.
it's probably the trickiest way, because the skin is better protected naturally.
Sure, yeah.
You have natural melanin in your skin. Melanin
Absolutely.
is a powerful antioxidant. It's our natural umbrella
Yes.
protecting the skin from the ultraviolet.
Hence why we get so much of it when we're out not protecting our skin. Melanin comes to save the day.
Yeah, and at some point it is an illusion.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're better protected than people with blue eyes and, these white hairs. But you're still not protected enough to be exposed to the sun in the midday.
And when I listen to you, I know I've seen a study that says in skin types 5 and 6, it's most common to experience transepidermal water loss.
Yeah.
So when we hear you say this is, yes, you're protected, but also not fully protected, still need that additional protection. It's like one could almost assume it would link to the other. If you're not protecting your skin from the ultraviolet and you're losing the water, your skin is dry and dehydrated, they go together. But no one would assume my skin is dry, I must not be protecting my skin from the sun.
Actually, the darker skin types, it's a paradox of darker skin types, because on one side,
Yeah,
you have more melanin, so your skin is better protected by pigment.
right.
But on another side, dark skin is known to be drier.
Yes.
And it's losing lipids easier.
Yes.
And lipid deficiency is the common problem in the darker skin types. So the first protection is the rich nutritional moisturizer
Yeah.
applied before the sunscreen.
Yes.
So first you hydrate and moisturize the
Absolutely.
sunscreen, and then 15 minutes later
Absolutely.
you apply the sunscreen. And also now that the whole range of sunscreen combined with some hydrating ingredients,
Sure.
antioxidant ingredients.
Sure.
So something really now hydrating for the skin would be great.
It's great for you to say that, especially we're talking in darker skin types, but also in all skin types, especially here when I'm meeting my clients, their biggest concern, it's of course pigmentation most of the time. They of course want to immediately go to what exfoliating products, what acids, or what percentage of tretinoin do you think I should try? And I'm like, how is your skin's hydration level? And they're always so surprised that I ask them that, but I just don't understand why we would even have a conversation about how we can reverse it if your skin isn't hydrated. So I love that you're mentioning this.
I think that's what defines a professional approach to
Sure.
skincare and professional approach to the hyperpigmentation. It starts not from the
Yes.
elimination of the pigment
Yes,
itself.
yes.
It starts from the different basic point, because
Yeah.
we are interested how it happened
Yeah.
with your skin.
Yeah.
How do you feel? What is an inflammation level on your skin? Unfortunately, it is impossible to treat pigmentation successfully if the skin is dry and inflamed,
Yes.
or oily and inflamed.
Yes.
Shortly speaking,
Sure.
if the skin is inflamed,
Yep.
the pigmentation cannot be treated
Absolutely.
for long distance. You
Absolutely.
can eliminate pigment for today, but it will rebound tomorrow. So in professional skincare, we have options, but as you mentioned, a lot of patients who are coming to the clinic are aware of the peeling and some kind of laser.
I was going to say devices, forget it. Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, I wanted to just scoot back a smidge on your professional opinion or just general fact. But when I will see women who have decades of skin pigmentation, there is a myth that says for every decade of your life that you're exposed to the sun, new pigmentation forms and it starts to surface. Number one, is this true?
Yes and no. Everything is complicated in life because, pigment is produced by the skin
Yes.
every day when you're exposed to the ultraviolet and when you have the whole basis.
Yes.
All these factors which are promoting the skin pigmentation, that's not only the ultraviolet. It
Yes.
is also inflammation. It is a pro-inflammatory diet, hormones, stress.
Yes.
Because stress hormone cortisol is also melanin producing.
Yes.
So microbiome can be also the factor promoting the skin
Yes.
pigmentation. So pigmentation has this cumulative
Yes.
effect.
Okay.
And unfortunately, ultraviolet has a cumulative damaging effect. Skin keeps scores.
I love this. So I asked that because we just had a workshop last week with a practitioner who had mentioned, I never had pigmentation until I started using this skincare. And then over these years now it has developed. Will I ever be able to get rid of it? And obviously we can never know. We do our best to address what we see in front of us. And it's interesting because when you speak to clients, they assume this just happened. It's like, this did not just happen based on the experience you're telling me with skincare and the relationship you've had with protecting your skin. It's been cumulative, like you've said, but now how can you reverse years of damage and decades?
That's why we call the first appearance of the pigmentation the manifestation. Because it was there.
Yeah.
Maybe for months,
Yeah.
maybe for years, because your skin kept scores.
Yes.
And at some point, the natural protection of your skin, it's enough to keep it invisible. But if you make your own the diagnostic, for example, as
Sure.
we're using here,
Sure.
is observe. Wrong. So
Yes.
you're doing photo.
Yes.
And when you do the photo with observe, with
Yes.
ultraviolet and ultraviolet, remember?
Yes.
You can see all this hidden pigmentation under the skin. So it is already in dermis. It didn't travel to the epidermis yet,
Sure.
but it will if you damage the skin even slightly. That's what can happen, for example, with inappropriate skincare. Because a lot of people, they think they should prevent the pigmentation using some exfoliating skincare. When you're using exfoliating skincare, you photosensitize.
Yes. Yes.
And when you photosensitize your skin, you promote this travel pigmentation from the deep layer to the superficial layers. So it's manifested already. And hello, that's the time to treat it. And it's difficult to treat it because everything what is on the surface, it's like an iceberg.
Right.
Because you see maybe 10% of it.
Right.
90% is
Right.
in the deep. So you should address
Yes.
the deep layers.
Yes.
It's impossible to treat the pigmentation only addressing the superficial layers. That's
Yes.
why chemical peels and all exfoliation, it can be good
Yeah.
today, but in a couple of weeks, you're
Sure. And it can be why someone can say this was really good for me for 3 to 4 months, or that really worked for me, but I'm back here doing the same thing. I remember getting a little discouraged helping people get ready for a wedding or a special event, and we get their skin super clear, and then they go on the honeymoon and I see them a few months later. It's back. I'm like, what was even the point of that? You put so much energy and time into the person knows the habits now, or they know the ways that the pigmentation is arriving into the skin. But ultimately, our treatment plan wasn't about promoting a healthier functioning skin. It was just about attacking what we saw in that moment.
And it can be, because sometimes you have a special occasion, you have no time.
Yeah.
Okay, you came 2 weeks
Yeah.
before this wedding party.
Sure.
And skin therapists, skin practitioners, dermatologists will say to you, you should come 1 year earlier.
Oh.
I am sorry. I have no time machine.
I'm here now. This
I'm
is what
here
I
now.
need. Yeah, no.
So let's do something.
They haven't even
about it.
necessarily committed to protecting their skin their whole life. And now you want them to commit for an entire year to get rid of this. Yeah, no.
So we have kind of 3 strategies.
Yeah.
Like a short time strategy.
Sure.
When you should change things today. Another strategy when you have probably 2 weeks or months. And the best case, obviously, when it is someone who is coming not because of the wedding or
Yes.
occasion or party, they just want to make their skin
Healthier, yes.
to treat the pigmentation and to prevent the development of the pigmentation.
Yes.
Let's discuss what options we have in the professional environment.
Yes.
For example, if it is someone who is coming today and like, I should go to the wedding tomorrow, what can we offer?
If I should go to the wedding tomorrow and I'm concerned about my pigmentation, I have to look them in their face and let them know this pigmentation didn't arrive last week. What I love to help clients understand is how we got here, what we can do about it. And then, of course, with my background and being a makeup artist, I'm like, go get this concealer, go get that.
I always wanted to say, because I've been in this situation when people come to me and say, and I need to eliminate my pigmentation tomorrow. And I was like, do I look like a fairy godmother?
Listen, get your magic wand,
Apparently.
AKA your Bobby Brown corrector.
We can help a little bit because in the professional setting,
Yeah.
we can first the dermabrasion,
Yeah.
especially hydrodermabrasion, helps a lot because at least we can take out
Yes.
the darkest melanin on the surface of the skin.
Yes.
And I don't say peeling because all kind of peeling except for probiotic enzymes,
Sure.
they can be photosensitizing.
Yes.
So the best way, you have the probiotic enzyme peel,
Yeah.
like our Enzipeel in Medar,
Yes.
and you perform the hydrodermabrasion procedures
Yes.
after. And the skin will look probably 30% clearer,
And would you agree
better moisturized.
that's also highly due to the increase in the microcirculation and the oxygenating of the skin surface? Yeah.
And also another step, what I will do in professional setting, it's to use the Hydrofill deeply moisturizing
Yes.
mask.
That was always my biggest recommendation. Absolutely.
Also, it's calm down the inflammation.
Yes.
It moisturizes the skin.
Yeah.
It restores this water barrier.
Yes,
barrier,
yes.
microbiome.
Yes.
It helps a lot, so skin will look better. And if you can add
Yeah.
light therapy,
Absolutely.
blue light, so it would be like half of the work done. Yes, there will not be the stable results
Yeah.
because 10, 14 days later, the pigmentation from the deep will successfully travel on the surface of the skin.
Yes.
But it will travel slower, especially if you continue to use antioxidant-based skincare,
Yes.
calming skincare, keep your skin moisturized. And also after such procedures, good probiotic enzyme peel, hydrodermabrasion, moisturizing mask, light therapy, makeup will look just so fabulous.
You mentioned blue light therapy and we mentioned infrared. Would you ever recommend infrared mask or light therapy to someone who has a concern with pigmentation?
No,
Exactly.
not at all.
So it's important because I know that we have different masks and different settings that we could use, but I think we get carried away in thinking I'm buying the most advanced thing that says it's supposed to help me with my skin. But think of what we just said. We just said that putting yourself in a position to be exposed to infrared and heat is not what you want if you're attempting to brighten your skin and prevent pigmentation.
And I can explain why, because infrared light
Yes.
is regenerating, stimulating.
Yes.
Yes, we use it. We need to regenerate the skin. But it stimulates melanocytes.
Yes.
As well, it stimulates your pigment cells.
Right.
To produce more melanin. This red light, we use it for collagen boosting because it stimulates fibroblasts, cells in the dermis. But melanocytes are located more superficially than fibroblasts.
Yes.
So they will be stimulated by red light.
Yes.
Even a few moments before fibroblasts will be stimulated. So once again, it's increased the risk of the hyperpigmentation. That's why all these collagen boosting procedures and regenerating, traumatizing procedures should do when the skin is perfectly calm,
Yeah.
when you calm down the pigmentation, and when you know that pigmentation is under control. So we're using enough of ingredients which blocks the production of enzyme called tyrosinase, which convert tyrosine amino acid to the melanin.
Yeah.
If tyrosinase is hyperactive, everything stimulating for your skin
Sure.
will just promote the pigmentation.
This makes complete sense.
And it's meets, let's say, a few days strategy,
Yeah.
a few weeks strategy. Then you'll have few weeks.
Yeah.
You'll have time to calm down the skin strategically to find this balance. So
Sure.
what can we offer when it is someone who is commented, now it's June and I'm preparing for my wedding in August? We have a lot of time, right?
We have a lot of time. Actually, when I worked in a practice, I always loved hydrofill as an option for my clients because number one, you had your tranexamic acid. So we were addressing the tyrosinase inhibitors there, but also you're strategically prepping them to maybe use something that is either suppressing or balancing their melanin production. So of course, before Luminoderm was born, I was always either taught to get them on something that had either tranexamic acid or maybe even just mildly like licorice root, for instance, something to calm it. But remember, I was always using devices like lasers. So I would do an IPL 1 month, I would have them come back and I would do another IPL. It was beautiful. But again, it didn't get me to the result of long term. They understood how pigmentation was being formed in their skin and they were clearer over time.
But actually, when you have a couple of months,
Yes.
you have time to use IPL, right?
You do.
And actually, fun fact about tranexamic acid. I was so surprised. I discovered that just the last week, tranexamic acid is able to bind estrogen receptors.
Wow.
Yes. So it supports the skin in the menopause
Wow.
as much as such phytoestrogens and our resveratrol.
Wow, wow,
so
wow.
it's really good for the menopausal skin. But at the same time,
Wow.
it protects melanocytes
Yes.
from hormonal influence. So tranexamic acid is really good for hormonal hyperpigmentation.
I was just going to say, hence why I think we use it a lot of oftentimes in our pregnancy skincare and my melasma patients.
That's why it works so good, because the mechanism of action of tranexamic acid was unclear until the last moment, and we thought it acts via fibrinogen system, so literally via blood viscosity and inflammation.
Exactly.
But it works by hormonal pathway as well.
Interesting.
So it's one of the best ingredients ever.
Yes.
We should use it more.
Yes.
And fortunately, in Medar, we use it a lot.
Yes.
Hydrofill,
Yes.
Luminoderm mask, Luminoderm cream. So when you have a couple of months' time, I start with lifestyle advices, trying to make it as boring as possible.
Sure.
Also, we will recommend antioxidant, anti-inflammatory diet.
Yes.
Because it really helps your skin brighten in the natural way.
Absolutely.
And I will add a lot of things which are rich in beta-carotene, yellow and orange. Why? Because beta-carotene is a natural precursor of retinoic acid.
Yes.
So you can have more retinol in your body naturally.
And better vitamin D absorption, yes?
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
it will renew your skin naturally without compromising the
Yes.
skin protection. And so we give the brightening skincare, like in Medar, Luminoderm, skincare routine based on the niacinamide, another brightening ingredient which controls tyrosinase, so skin cleanser with niacinamide, antioxidant serum with niacinamide, Luminoderm as moisture, and we will plan IPL in 3-4 weeks time.
Yes.
And we will get a time for a couple of sessions.
Sure.
IPL
Yeah.
with light therapy, hydrofill deeply moisturizing treatment, also rich in tranexamic acid. So very probably in a couple of months' time, we can brighten the skin beautifully.
Brighten beautifully. And also the habits that you mentioned there, of course, yes, the diet, but the next things, especially here in Florida, is when they're exposing their skin to heat and the ultraviolet ultimately altogether. It's huge. When you have that much time, you have time to catch yourself. You have time to adjust your lifestyle, even if it's just for a few months. Now it becomes more realistic because if you want to get back to your lifestyle, you can get back to it. But we just need this small 3-month window.
Yeah, you just changed your diet slightly.
Yes.
You become a little bit more modern person. If you're still wanting to do some physical activity, we can help you to write sunscreen, to help to apply it properly, to teach you how to do it better. And also we have this IPL. So for me, 2 months time, it's absolutely enough to treat almost all types of pigmentation except for deep
I was just going to say, okay, deep melasma, yes.
deep melasma and lentigo and probably everything what is really deep,
Yes.
it will brighten, but it will not disappear.
And we also have to factor in that unfortunately an IPL can't be performed on all skin types, right? So there is going to be that person who's a FITS 4 through 6. I know some people will treat a FITS 4 if they've been using some sort of tyrosinase inhibitor and they feel confident with that, or unfortunately a lot of times they get really dramatic and may even use like a hydroquinone on someone who's a skin type 4.
It's banned in the European Union, and it's banned for a reason, because unfortunately it can make irreversible death in skin cells and in darker skin types, just destroy melanocytes, and it can create the condition called ochronosis.
Yes.
Which is absolutely irreversible. It's really deformational for the skin, and also it increases the risk of all neoplasm, all neogenesis of the skin, so it can be dangerous.
Please do not. I have absolutely seen someone make the horrible mistake in here in South Florida of using an IPL on the wrong skin type. So for those skin types then, I am familiar with a few devices that sure could help them, but what I find works best for my 4 through 6 is simple is better, focusing on their antioxidant absorption, focusing on cortisol. You mentioned that, and I think that's
hormones.
Something very underestimated. A lot of people will say that they notice their skin gets so much brighter when they are no longer going through the most stressful time of their life.
It's absolutely logical, because cortisol makes your skin darker, makes your pigment cells more active. Because melanin protection, it's the magic of your body. Your body can protect itself.
Yes.
But it's a part of the total protection. So when you're under the stress, your body reacts a little bit. It's overwhelmed, so it produces more protective substances, including melanin.
Absolutely. So I would say those are my things that then I focus on for most of my clients is if we can't necessarily run to the devices, it's great. Do you agree? I like to use microcurrent for my clients, especially if I'm going to be doing a hydrophil treatment, like anything that I can do to feed the skin.
Why microcurrent therapy? It's really good for pigmented skin because it really helps to get more energy for your skin cells.
Without overstimulating it the way we're talking about like red light therapy or infrared would do.
Because when you have enough of ATP, cells will use it for the anti-inflammatory protection.
Exactly.
And you can more efficiently balance pigment synthesis using the microcurrent therapy.
I love that.
So
I love that.
Definitely. Light therapy, microcurrent therapy, all help you can get with your sleep, healthy diet, moderate physical activity. And if you have more time than 2 months,
yes,
and especially if you can do it in the less sunny period of the year, sometimes for deep pigmentation, we can use laser.
Yes.
Because laser is addressing chromophores, so it's addressing melanocytes. If your skin is well prepared,
yes, we
can use it strategically. And there are new types of laser, which are less damaging for the skin.
And they're incredible.
Superficial layer of the skin. We are going really, it's micro rays of laser, which interacts directly with the chromophore, with melanin, deep skin wires, eliminates melanin. And if your skin is prepared, and if you continue to use antioxidant protection, and actually we have this clinical research with
we do.
Carboxy laser with phenol chemical using our energy solution based on nice name. And it prevented post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation in 100% of cases. No one of volunteers developed the hyperpigmentation after the treatment. And in the control group, still is the same. About 40% of volunteers, they develop pigmentation in the same condition. So it's very small step. Just one product to add in your daily skincare routine, which can help you to go through the treatment safer.
Am I misunderstanding the large impact that microcirculation has on pigmentation?
Yeah, I think that it's impossible to overestimate it because microcirculation, and it is a key, because inflamed skin is also over. It's kind you have overactive microcirculation in the inflammation area. So when you calm down the microcirculation, when you balance it, enough of oxygen.
I believe so.
Enough of nutrients, but in the same time, enough of detoxifying movement, lymphatic drainage.
I don't know that I have seen a product the way Energy Soin Serum has changed my own skin, even prior to having Luminoderm. Using that serum and noticing how my skin would scar less frequently or just not as long, it would clear up so much quicker. It speaks volumes to having healthy circulation in the skin and how many products we have on the market that don't provide that.
Unfortunately, because I think that many products are formulated by chemists, and as much respect I have for chemists,
Yeah.
I believe that cosmetic chemists should work in the synergy and in collaboration with biologists.
It would make sense if we came together as a collective. You understand how the body is functioning, and I understand what these ingredients do and how they will interrupt or improve that function.
Because we're speaking about biological systems. That's
Yes.
why I love biohacking so
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
Because biological system is an active participant of any kind of interaction. And
Sure.
very often speaking about cosmetic, we're speaking like vitamin C is increase the amount of antioxidant in the skin responds to vitamin C in some way. And different types of skin of different individuals responds differently.
Sure.
So we should find this way of balance
Yes.
this response and
Yeah.
to make this response more predictable. And by the way, with vitamin C, unfortunately, we have not so much of success in the treatment of the pigmentation. Because
Using
it's
it.
fragile, it's not enough. But we can offer so many options.
You've given so many gems and so many tips. We've discussed about what causes the pigmentation, what we can do to use it, what function in the body ultimately improves it probably the most or impacts it the most, being microcirculation. So this hyper focus on sunscreen or which antioxidant or which chemical peel, it's all one. It's all a system together, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's just take a step back and see how interconnected everything is in your life, how your skin is interconnected with everything in your body, and how it's connected to your lifestyle.
Yes.
You can do good thing for your skin.
Yeah. There are a lot of concerns and people can get hyperfixated on it. But this one, it's just pigmentation, Sarah. I need to blast it. I need to get rid of it. And it's no, we could focus on all of these other areas of your skin and it would improve.
So our advice, relax.
Please.
And get professional help.
Take a deep breath. Get hydrated, get a professional, and let us help you.
Thank you for joining us today on the Matter Beauty podcast. If you found this helpful, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an expert skincare tip. Have a question or topic you'd like for me to cover? Send me a message at podcast@matterbeauty.com and let's keep the conversation going. Also, you can visit matterbeauty.com and discover Matter Skincare, which I created. And if you enjoyed the show, I'd love if you left a review. It helps others find the podcast and keeps us growing. Until next time, stay healthy, stay glowing, and take care of your skin.